Right now, your house is 68 degrees. You ate cooked food today. You slept through the night without a predator touching you. Every single one of those things exists because of one discovery your ancestors made a million years ago and nearly failed to make at all. Not the wheel, not agriculture, not language. Fire. Controlled, reproducible, on-demand fire. And the story of how they cracked it is stranger and darker than anything you learned in school. Let's start with what fire actually is. Fire is not a thing. It's a process. Rapid oxidation releasing heat and light. It needs three inputs simultaneously: fuel, oxygen, heat. Remove any one of them and it dies. This sounds simple. It is not simple, because your ancestors didn't have matches, they didn't have lighters. What they had was friction, patience, and the slow, creeping understanding that rubbing two specific types of wood together in a specific way could produce something small, something that died in seconds if you breathed on it wrong. The oldest controlled fire ever found is inside Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa. Ash layers, burned bones, charred plant remains dating back 1 million years. The creatures who lit that fire were Homo erectus. They walked upright, they made stone tools, but their brains were roughly half the size of yours, and somehow they figured out how to keep a fire going, day after day, generation after generation. But here's what nobody tells you. Finding fire and making fire are completely different problems. For hundreds of thousands of years before Wonderwerk, your ancestors weren't making fire at all. They were finding it. Lightning struck a tree, volcanoes scorched the ground, fire appeared, and your ancestors did what every other animal did. They ran. Then at some point, someone didn't. Someone stayed close enough to notice the warmth didn't hurt, that the light pushed predators back, that the animals left charred in the grass smelled extraordinary. That moment has no date, no name, no cave. It is the most important thing any member of our species ever did, and it is completely invisible to history. So what did fire actually do to us? The first thing it did was buy us time. Before fire, the human day ended at sunset. Literally, when the light went, you found shelter and stopped moving, because moving in the dark meant becoming food. Leopards, cave hyenas, saber-toothed cats, all of them could see in conditions your eyes were never built for. Every night your ancestors sat completely still, waiting for the sun to come back. Fire changed that in a single generation. A campfire creates a safety circle roughly 30 feet wide. Inside it, predators will not enter. Even today, lions avoid fire. It is hardwired into them, which means for the first time in 2 million years of human history, the night became usable. Fire gave your ancestors 2 to 4 extra hours every single day. Those hours built better tools, taught children skills, and started something else entirely. Around those fires, 81% of nighttime conversation shifted to stories, myths, jokes, adventures. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner, studying the Juhuansi Bushmen, argued that the campfire was where human culture was born, the original classroom, the original church. Your ability to read this is downstream of those conversations. But fire didn't just change what happened outside the body, it changed what happened inside it. Cooking is pre-digestion. Heat breaks down food before it ever reaches your mouth. Your gut extracts more calories and spends less energy doing it. When your ancestors started cooking regularly, their guts shrank, and that freed energy went somewhere. It went to the brain. Your brain is 2% of your body weight and burns 20% of your calories. Before cooking, your ancestors couldn't afford to grow it. After cooking, they couldn't stop. Generation after generation, slightly more energy, slightly larger brain, slightly better tools, slightly more food. Cooked. More energy, bigger brain. Fire didn't just warm your ancestors. Fire built the brain you are using right now to understand that fact. And then it changed how they slept. Before artificial light, humans didn't sleep in one block. They slept in 2 phases. First sleep for 4 hours, a wakeful window of 1 to 2 hours in the quiet middle of the night, then second sleep until dawn. During that middle window, they tended the fire, thought, talked softly. In a 1992 lab study, psychiatrist Thomas Ware recreated ancient darkness conditions and found that every participant settled into this exact pattern within weeks. Their brains during the wakeful window showed elevated prolactin, the same hormone released during meditation, calm, reflective, a distinct state of consciousness that most modern humans have never experienced. We didn't just inherit fire from our ancestors, we inherited an entire relationship with darkness and night that artificial light dismantled in a single century. Here is the full shape of what fire did. It pushed predators back, extended the day, built culture through nighttime storytelling, shrank the gut and grew the brain, restructured sleep into something quieter and more human than what we have now. All of it from one burning branch that someone decided not to drop. And here's the part that should sit with you. You are not different from those people. Your brain is the brain fire built. Your body still produces melatonin on a schedule calibrated to firelight. When you wake at 2 a.m. and lie there in the dark, that is not malfunction. That is memory. Your body remembering something it was designed to do before the light switch made it irrelevant. Every morning you wake up warm without thinking about it. But somewhere inside you, in the part of you that is still 300,000 years old and standing on a dark savanna, there is something that remembers exactly what it cost. And it has never forgotten.